Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to dive into the super fun and spooky book, Night of the Goat Boy. So, pull up a log, let's gather around the virtual campfire and get this story started.
You know that feeling, right? When the fire's crackling and the woods are just completely dark around you? Those stories can feel so real. Well, this book takes that exact feeling and turns it into one wild adventure. I love this. The book asks us this question right at the beginning. It even promises cold, clammy shivers running up and down your spine. So yeah, get ready for a seriously spooky ride.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up, we've got the legend of the Goat Boy. You know how it is? Every great mystery needs a creepy story to kick things off, and the one at Camp Spotlight, it's a doozy.
So here's the legend the camp counselors tell on the very first night. Way back, about 30 years ago, there was a kid named Kenny who got teased and called Goat Boy. The story goes that he got so mad he actually set a tent on fire, and then, get this, a magician cursed him, turning him into a real half-goat, half-human monster that, you guessed it, still haunts these very woods. Talk about a perfect way to scare some new campers.
All right, now let's go to Camp Spotlight and meet our main character, Nathaniel. He's a total drama kid, and he is just so excited to spend his summer at a camp that's all about acting and putting on plays.
So Nathaniel is ready to make friends and be the star of the show, but there's already a little mystery nagging at him. He overheard his parents, and they sounded really worried about him coming here. Turns out, they actually went to this exact same camp 30 years ago. Yep, right when that whole legend started.
And, you know, it doesn't take long after that campfire story for things to get weird. All of a sudden, that creepy tale about the Goat Boy starts to feel less like a story and a whole lot more like something real is happening.
And what's so cool here is how the scares just get bigger and bigger. You know, it starts with a strange sound and a bad smell outside the tent, but then things get really dangerous. A giant stage light almost falls on him. Then a threatening note appears. And finally, his friend Jillian sees a terrifying goat head. One by one, these things just build and build until Nathaniel knows he has to figure this out.
So this is the breaking point. Is the Goat Boy a real monster, or is this all just one big, nasty prank? Nathaniel decides he's had enough, and he bravely heads into the woods to face whatever or whoever is out there. And here it is, the big reveal. After a super scary face-to-face in his tent, Nathaniel discovers that the monster is actually just a gross, stinky, stuffed goat's head on a stick. It was the camp's teenage bullies Andrew and Austin the whole time. They were making the noises, they rigged a light, and they wrote that creepy note.
But wait, there's a twist. The bullies fess up to everything, except for one thing. They swear they didn't trash the camp director's cabin or chew up his sandal. So if they didn't do it, who did? The book leaves us with just one last little shiver down our spines.
All right, so let's talk about the lessons from the campfire. Because beyond all the scares and the pranks, Nathaniel's adventure actually teaches us some really important stuff about being brave and, thinking for ourselves.
I think this is the main idea of the whole book, courage. Being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. Of course not. It means you're totally terrified, but you choose to do the right thing anyway. For Nathaniel, it meant pushing past all those scary stories to find the truth, not just for himself, but to keep his friends safe too.
So what's the final lesson here? Well, this story really encourages us to be curious and to question things, especially when bullies are using fear to get what they want. It shows us that sometimes the monsters we cook up in our own imaginations are way scarier than what's actually real.
And hey, if you want to keep the Camp Spotlight fun going, you should totally try some of these activities. You could even invent your own version of the Goat Boy legend to tell your friends.
And for any parents or teachers listening, this book is just a fantastic way to start conversations about big topics like bullying and facing fears, all inside a really fun and exciting mystery.
Now, if you had a blast with Night of the Goat Boy, guess what? You are in luck. This is actually just one book in a whole series of spooky stories.
Yep, the author M.D. Spenser wrote a whole series called Shivers. So if you're looking for your next spooky adventure, you can check out awesome titles like A Ghastly Shade of Green or The Haunting House.
And that was our trip to Camp Spotlight with Night of the Goat Boy. It's the perfect story for anyone who loves a good mystery with a few chills thrown in.
If you enjoyed this explainer, make sure you follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for hanging out with us.